Even savvy customers can be fooled into thinking a car is safe. Most mistakes arise from 4 common misconceptions about vehicle safety. Question: do manufacturers gain safety ratings and ignore safety features that are not explicitly tested in the crash test? The answer is at least somewhat yes. In fact, one ratings organization added a driver's side test and found that in response, manufacturers reinforced the driver's side of the vehicle but did not reinforce the passenger side. This is just one of many examples of manufacturers ignoring untested safety features. Because crash tests occur in staged environments, they may not tell us how well a car will actually perform in the real world. Take, for instance, the frontal crash test. In the frontal crash test, a vehicle is smashed into a barrier that does not move even an inch. Therefore, heavier cars do not have any advantage in these tests. However, in the real world, we know that heavier cars will push lighter cars around. Consider this analogy. If 2 football players smash into each other head first, and they're both wearing the same helmets, are they equally likely to get hurt? Of course that's not true if one of them weighs twice as much as the other. Of course it's a lighter one who's going to get hurt. And the same applies to cars. Can you trust a car salesman? The answer is absolutely not. They spend years practicing gaining their customers' trust and will bend the truth to get you hooked on the car that they want to sell you. I experienced this firsthand when I asked a car dealer whether occupants seated in the 3rd row would be safe in a rear-end collision. The answer they gave is that their car received perfect scores in both the IIHS and NHTSA crash tests. What they failed to mention, however, is that neither of these 2 ratings organizations had a rear crash test. Fact: Volvos are involved in 49% fewer fatal accidents. So are they safer? Well, the answer is not as obvious as it might seem. Once a car is perceived as safe, people who care more about safety will buy it. And those same people tend to have safer driving habits. So the low death rates of cars that are perceived as safe might just reflect the cautious driving habits of the people who choose to buy it. Studies show that eating healthy can cut your heart disease and cancer risk by about 50%. But let's face it, eating healthy is pretty hard to do. It involves a lot of self-control every single day. But buying a safe car is relatively easy if you know where to look. In fact, our analyses show that if you go from the least to the most safe car, you can cut your fatality risk by about 90%. And this is non-trivial. Did you know that every single year about 40,000 people die in accidents in the US? And did you know that about 1 in 150 are hurt in accidents every single year? At RealSafeCars.com, we've tried making buying a safe car as simple as possible. We've boiled down hundreds of crash test measurements and car safety features into a single rating that tells you how likely you are to die in real-world accident scenarios.